Look, if you're watching this video right now, there's probably one thing we have in common. You're tired of being stuck in the same financial cycle month after month, paycheck to paycheck, wondering why money seems to slip through your fingers like water. Well, what if I told you that the reason you're struggling financially has nothing to do with how much money you make, and everything to do with a mental trap that almost everyone falls into without even realizing it? I used to be exactly where you might be right now, making decent money, but somehow always ending up broke by the end of the month. It wasn't until I discovered a simple concept that completely changed how I think about money that everything shifted. And today, I'm going to share that breakthrough with you, along with the exact steps that helped me break free from financial stress and start building real wealth. But here's the thing that most people don't understand about money. The problem isn't that you don't make enough. The problem is that you've been programmed to think like a consumer instead of an owner. You've been trained to see money as something that flows through your hands rather than something that can work for you. And once you understand this shift, everything changes. Think about it this way. Imagine you're back in elementary school and your job is to spend all day at an arcade earning tickets. Every day, you show up, play the games, and collect your tickets. At the end of each day, you count your tickets and immediately think about what prizes you can buy from the prize counter. Your entire focus is on those prizes. How many tickets do I have? What can I afford? Which prize should I get next? This is exactly how most people think about money. They go to work, earn their paycheck, and immediately start thinking about what they can buy with it. New clothes, entertainment, gadgets, restaurant meals. Their entire mental framework is built around converting their earnings into purchases as quickly as possible. But here's what's really happening behind the scenes. When you work at that job, you're actually creating more value for your employer than they're paying you. That's basic economics. If you weren't profitable for them, they wouldn't keep you employed. So they're taking the majority of the value you create, giving you a portion of it as your salary, and then hoping you'll spend that salary on the very products and services that make them even richer. It's like working at a toy factory all day, getting paid in company credits, and then spending all those credits at the company store buying the same toys you just made. You're trapped in a cycle where your labor enriches others, and then your spending enriches those same people even more. The way to break free from this cycle is surprisingly simple, but it requires a complete mental shift. Instead of thinking like a consumer who earns money to spend it, you need to start thinking like an investor who earns money to multiply it. Here's the first step, and it's non-negotiable. Every single time you get paid, before you pay rent, before you buy groceries, before you do anything else, you pay yourself first. Take 10% of everything you earn and put it in a separate account that you never touch for everyday expenses. Now, I know what you're thinking. 10% doesn't sound like much, but here's the reality check most people need to hear. If you can't save 10% of your income, you're not living within your means. You're living beyond them. And if you're living beyond your means when you're making $40,000 a year, you'll find a way to live beyond your means when you're making $80,000 a year too. The beautiful thing about humans is that we're incredibly adaptable. If you suddenly had to live on 90% of your current income, you'd figure out how to make it work. You'd find ways to cut back on unnecessary expenses. You'd be more intentional about your purchases. You'd realize that a lot of what you thought were necessities were actually just habits. Most people think they can't afford to save because they feel like every dollar is already spoken for. But these same people somehow find money for streaming subscriptions, coffee shop visits, impulse purchases, and entertainment. The truth is, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's not because you don't make enough money. It's because you haven't made saving a priority. When you pay yourself first, something magical happens. That money starts to accumulate. Month after month, it grows. And for the first time, you start to see yourself as someone who has wealth rather than someone who just spends money. This psychological shift is incredibly powerful because it changes how you see yourself and your relationship with money. But saving money is just the foundation. The next step is to increase your ability to earn more money in the first place. And in today's economy, the fastest way to do that is through skill development. We live in an incredible time where you can learn almost any marketable skill online for free. Video editing, graphic design, social media management, copywriting, web development, digital marketing. These are all skills that are in high demand, and you can learn them without spending thousands of dollars on a college degree. I know someone who decided to learn video editing this year, started from basically nothing. Within 6 months, he was working as a freelance editor and earning more per hour than his previous full-time job paid. The demand for digital content is massive right now, and most people don't realize how many opportunities exist for those who have even basic technical skills. The key is to pay attention to what's happening in the world around you. What do businesses need help with? What problems can you solve for people? Where is technology creating new opportunities? Instead of spending your free time consuming entertainment, spend it developing skills that can increase your earning potential. Ask yourself this question regularly. What am I putting into my mind on a daily basis? Am I feeding it information that helps me grow and become more valuable? Or am I just keeping myself distracted and entertained? Because the inputs you choose today determine the outputs you'll have tomorrow. Now, once you've established the habit of saving and you're working on increasing your income, you reach the next crucial step. You need to make your money work for you instead of just sitting there losing value to inflation. Here's something most people don't realize. When you put money in a regular savings account, you're not actually storing your money safely. You're loaning it to the bank at an extremely low interest rate, and they're using your money to make investments that generate much higher returns. They're keeping the difference as profit. Meanwhile, inflation is eating away at the purchasing power of your savings every single year. So even though the number in your account stays the same, that money buys less and less over time. You're actually losing money by not investing it. Now, I'm not going to give you specific investment advice because I'm not a financial advisor, but I will tell you what I'm doing with my money. I'm diversifying across different types of assets. Some money goes into index funds that track the overall stock market. Some goes into real estate. I'm looking into precious metals like gold. The point is not to put all your eggs in one basket. The only way you're going to learn how to invest is by actually investing. You'll probably lose some money at first because you're not an expert. That's normal and expected. But you'll also start to develop judgment about what constitutes a good investment and what's just a get-rich-quick scheme. And speaking of get-rich-quick schemes, here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. The only way to get rich quickly is to provide massive value to other people. You either help a lot of people solve a small problem, or you help a few people solve a big problem. There are no shortcuts that don't involve genuine value creation. Maybe that means starting a small service business. Buy a pressure washer for $500 and start cleaning driveways and sidewalks. Charge $100 per job. After 5 jobs, you've paid for your equipment. After 10 jobs, you're making pure profit. Maybe you expand and hire someone to help you. Maybe you buy more equipment and start serving commercial clients. This is investing too. You're investing in assets and skills that generate income. It doesn't always have to be stocks and bonds. Some of the best investments are in yourself and your ability to create value for others. The pattern here is simple, but it requires discipline and long-term thinking. First, you escape the consumer mindset by paying yourself first. Second, you increase your earning potential by developing valuable skills. Third, you make your money work for you through smart investments and value creation. Most people fail at this, not because it's complicated, but because they never start with step 1. They're always looking for advanced strategies while ignoring the fundamentals. They want to find the perfect investment opportunity while they're still spending every dollar they earn. Personal finance doesn't need to be complicated. If you master the basics, you're already doing better than most people. But most people fail at the basics because they're not sexy or exciting. Saving 10% of your income isn't glamorous. Learning a new skill takes time and effort. Building wealth slowly doesn't make for good social media content. But here's what's exciting about it. Once you start following this process, you begin to see results within months. Your savings account grows, your skills improve, new opportunities appear. You start to feel like you have options instead of feeling trapped by your circumstances. And the compound effect of these changes is incredible. As you save more money, you have more to invest. As you develop more skills, you can charge higher rates for your services. As you make smarter financial decisions, your wealth grows faster. Everything starts to build on itself. The most important thing to understand is that this is completely within your control. No matter what's happening with the economy, inflation, or job market, there are always people who find ways to improve their financial situation. They do it through discipline, smart choices, and consistent action over time. You don't need perfect conditions to start. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to begin with step 1. Pay yourself first, even if it's only 5% at the beginning, even if it's just $20 from your next paycheck. The habit is more important than the amount when you're starting out. Start building that separate account that represents your future financial freedom. Start thinking about what skills you could develop that would make you more valuable in the marketplace. Start paying attention to investment opportunities and learning about how money actually works in the real world. The difference between people who build wealth and people who stay broke isn't intelligence or luck. It's mindset and habits. It's the willingness to delay gratification and think long-term instead of just living for the moment. Your future self is depending on the decisions you make today. 6 months from now, you can either be in the exact same financial position you're in right now, or you can be someone who's systematically building wealth and creating options for yourself. The choice is yours, but the time to start is now. Not next month when you get a raise. Not next year when things settle down. Right now, with whatever you're currently earning, you can begin the process of transforming your financial future. Remember, every wealthy person started exactly where you are now. The only difference is they decided to stop thinking like consumers and start thinking like investors. They chose to pay themselves first, develop valuable skills, and make their money work for them instead of against them. That same opportunity is available to you today. The question is, are you going to take it?